ran for over 30 years until he retired. So he came to Lamar as a band director and a teacher and band director, and then mutated into the Corlettes. So what I'd like to do now is introduce Roland Sledge, class of '64. He's the past president of the Lamar Alumni Association, and he wants to say a few words to you too. Thank you. And we're going to kick it off with a video that has some reminiscence about some people you know here at Lamar High School. So are we ready?
It was as pretty as the country club. So many of the roads were still gravel. There were gravel streets, you know, into the parking lot. So nobody had a car. I don't know what I'm talking about, a parking lot. We teachers had some, I think, but anyway, it was. In fact, I learned to drive on Purdie because it was all gravel. You know, way out in the country, my daddy thought. So when they built Lamar, that was really way out in the country.
It began always getting there, but before getting into school, it meant you had to go, or you went, to the River Oaks pharmacy, drugstore, which was where St. John, the Divine Church is now. And it had a jukebox, and it was everything a pharmacy or drugstore was then, a drinking fountain and, you know, this old-fashioned drugstore. So we all went there, and then as the bell rang virtually, there would be this parade going to Lamar.
Sometimes my mother took me, but luckily we lived close by, and sometimes I walked. When the weather was good, I walked. But, you know, it seemed to me I was always running a little late, so maybe I ran to school. Oh, when I walked in, I thought, this is wonderful. It's so big, and there's so many different things to do besides just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It was much less complicated than now, though of course there were still those little issues that you always had. Was your petticoat right? Were you wearing the right clothes? You know, all those things young girls worry about when they're trying to discover themselves.
I got kicked out of Bel Air. They never wanted to see me again. Somehow I finagled my way into Lamar. I was one of those people who spent most of my time in school, and certainly it was true at Lamar, looking out the window, to the extent that I could look out the window, dreaming about what I would do when I got out of there. My homeroom was the art class. I don't remember the art teacher's name. She was wonderful, a real tall woman. And kind of nervous. I would be nervous if I were a school teacher.
Getting the privilege of driving an automobile was the big deal.
In those days, we didn't have automobiles. On dates, we used our family automobile. But not in Connie's case. He had a Model T.
Well, I got my driver's license the day I turned 14 years old. You had to be 14, and I did not waste a single day. The great thing about a driver's license was that that's when you got serious about dating the girls.
I don't want this to seem like a boast, but as far as I know, I was just about the only boy that had a car. And it was a 1927 Model T Ford Coupe, two-door.
So we rode bicycles. If anybody had a car, we carpooled, but nobody had a car.
And it had certain charming features. If you slammed the door, the windows broke.
It was a privilege to ride with Connie, and I'd find an excuse to ride with him just to get in that Model T.
Usually parents took us. We had a friend who might have had a car. I don't remember, I just remember bicycles and buses.
The big thing was to arrive in a car. If you didn't have your own, you rode with somebody. The terrible thing, and I had to do it for a while, was to ride the school bus.
I can still remember how that music used to make smiles.
I have so many wonderfully fond memories of Lamar. Actually, that's when things began to happen for me. The teachers, the first teacher, Mrs. Ball, who entered my picture in the contest when I was in the 10th grade, unbeknownst to me. And I had no idea.
I walked to school, and I would start out with Lucy Gray, and who would pick me up, and then we walked down the street and picked up Dorothy Newby and her cello, and picked up, we picked up, I think, 2 people along the way, and we all would walk to school. It was a wonderful time, and it was a wonderful school.
Hey, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours.
The difficult thing that I got out of coming to Lamar was basically having to deal with all those people all of a sudden. When at Kincaid, it was very small. It really prepared me for going to the University of Texas, where you walk into a lecture class of 400 and they say, here it is, if you want it, you got it. If you don't, you're not going to be here next semester.
I have a lot of fond memories of Lamar, and most of them were fun times with good teachers. We had a great class to go through with, and had a lot of fun. It was a wonderful setting because it was a large school that had a lot of resources and had a lot of people. And yet it still had small classes and still had a lot of focus on what you're doing. We had, calculus, physics. We had, the best of English and history and math and those things. So that I think it was quite a challenging curriculum and prepared as well.
Most of the group that I ran around with, unfortunately, were into practical jokes and into pranks. Most of it is better left unsaid.
I was, I guess you could say, late bloomer, and I got to Lamar in 10th grade. I was not, popular. I was a kid who was bussed in from 3rd Ward, Houston. I was shocked to learn there were people who had elevators in their homes. And so I went into this world really unprepared for it. Found out very quickly it's a great school. My parents always stressed academic excellence, so I wasn't new to that. And Lamar definitely was a place then and now of academic excellence.
I would skip school to go anywhere.
What polo shirt are you going to wear with what shoes are going to match and belt? And then are you wearing your topsiders or are you going to wear your penny loafers? That kind of thing. What else do girls talk about? And guys.
Well, I went to Rose Elementary, Sidney Lanier Junior High School, and the only place to go was Lamar. I mean, nobody ever thought of anything else, but I think I would have died if I hadn't, because everybody wanted to go to Lamar.
When I look back and I think about the 3 years I spent at Lamar, besides getting good fundamentals, I was in a class of class people, really class people. And they all, in their own way, wanted to do something extraordinary in life. And to me, that's heroes, ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
I look back on high school, particularly my experience at Lamar, with real affection. I mean, I had a good time. I learned a lot. I thought it was a good place. Well, I grew up in the neighborhood. I went to elementary school and went to Lanier Junior High, and so I was zoned into Lamar. So that's where I went. Soldier
call just kind of an ordinary Houston girl. I went to Poe, Lanier, with a little stint at T.H. Rogers, because that's what a lot of the popular kids were doing. I'm not sure if it was my best decision. And then I finally got to Lamar. All roads led to Lamar.
My parents felt very strongly that I needed a normal education, meaning not one that you spend the majority of the day doing the arts, something that is a little bit more grounded and academic. So I went from HSPDA to Lamar between my sophomore and junior year, and I can honestly say, I've said this in numerous interviews all over the world, that transformation probably changed my life. It definitely changed my group of friends for the rest of my life.
That's not enough.
I think you're talking to Barry White. He has this very, very deep voice, and which is very unusual when first time you hear it.
I just remember hearing a kid in the back saying, my name is Brian Orakpo. I was like, who is it? I'm like, somebody's dad is in here posing as a young freshman.
Yeah, see, the funny thing, I've been having this voice for a long, long time. So I used to get all the jokes, Barry White, this and that, you know. So I heard them all, but this deep voice went a lot. It's been with me for a long, long time, and I just can't get away from it. I've been talking like this since I was 5 years old, you know.
I think it was a good high school. I think we had a superb student body. I think we had an excellent faculty. I think the fact that the school was a new building and had all of those amenities to it was very, very helpful. And it just seemed to really grab hold. In those early years, it just seemed to do very, very well.
And you know, at the time, we felt sorry for those kids that had to go to Kincaid and St. John's. We thought, these poor kids that can't cut it in a big public school before we were at this great high school. And so I couldn't think about going anywhere else. That was really where I wanted to go.
The parking lot was kind of a central focus in the mornings, and always a lot of fun, lots of mischief going on, and just kind of figuring out what you're going to do that day that you weren't going to get caught in. But there wasn't a lot of discussion about going in and how you're going to go into be a really great student.
We don't offer that. So they say, well, maybe you should go to the drama department and speak to Mrs. Denney. And there sat this wonderful looking woman with this severe streak of gray hair that was a natural thing that went like that, kind of like a benign Cruella de Vil, you know, like this. And she had on a brown linen suit, a beautiful silk blouse, and brown and white high heel spectators. She was like a female version of Fred Astaire. She was just sitting there so classy and elegant.
I wasn't taking drama class, and she got me one afternoon, I think in the hall, and said that I should come to her drama class, that it would be a lot of fun and I'd learn a lot. And so she talked me into enrolling in her drama class there. And it's the best thing I ever did.
I liked her. I don't know why. I liked her manner, and I liked the fact that it was drama, and she was her persona was very powerful. In a gentle way. I mean, she let me in the class.
If it weren't for Ruth Denney, I don't think I'd remember high school, because Ruth Denney was high school to me. You know, if you ask me how I got in and did I audition, no. I just, you know, I was in her class, and really when you come away from those years, they're still with me today. She's part of my history. That experience in that drama shack at Lamar High School, I carry with me today.
I met Miss Ruth Denney. God, that if you only knew what it meant to the whole entire student, I mean, we had such a, from Miss Ruth Denney, she was like the ultimate, the penultimate.
She took us to New York City. We got to see the best, Broadway shows, Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. She introduced us to a world that you know, sort of at that age just dream about.
If you care enough and you work on people, you can get them to do most anything.
Nothing gives me more pleasure than giving back to the institutions that helped me become whatever success I've become, and Lamar was a big part of it.
The alumni are very important to all schools because they give a continuity.
Alumni Association has the opportunity to raise money for specific projects, building projects, improvement projects on the campuses, and also scholarships, which are, the investment in our youth is what this is all about.
Lamar is a special place to me. It was a place that I guess allowed me to do well, do badly.
Let's get this party started.
I told my wife she was here longer than I was. And she had to go to school here.